Hey everybody, Season 1 2, and today I've been here that since last time we talked about my least favorite villains. So today we're going to go to the other side of and talk about my favorite villains. By the way, huge spoilers for those of you who are not for some of the villains of a franchise. And we're going to start off with a villain that is old as, well, almost as old as I am. Bowser. Now, Bowser is a... By the way, this is not top 10. It's just my opinions on some of the best villains. Now, Bowser was a video game or a character in a cartoon or movie, is a pretty good character. He is probably one of my top favorite villains because he's always there to give Mario a hard time. Now, I get it. He sometimes isn't a villain. He's more of a help sometimes. Like, for example, there's a couple of games where he is actually a playable character, like in Mario Tennis, Mario Kart. But that, besides the point, he's a villain. And I think one of my favorite times he's been a villain is in the Mario movie. Not the original Mario Bros. Movie, the newest one made by Illumination. Jack Black plays the voice of him. Another villain that's one of my favorite is Grogar. Now, Grogar, if you don't know who he is, go back to My Little Pony, the very first G1 season, in the very first ever generation, and you'll see what I mean. Why do I like him? He's more or less the epitome of dark. Okay, I'll say this, madam. He's one of the most darkest villains of all time. Although he's kind of downplayed in Friendship is Magic, he's still a pretty awesome villain. I've always liked him. He's a goat. Literally, he is a goat in both the original and FIM. And of course, I can't talk about him and not talk about the original villain, Tirak. Or Tirak. Whichever you prefer. The original My Little Pony villain. He is what nightmares are made of. I mean, my gosh. In the original, he has this sack that he has around his neck. That is the Rainbow of Darkness. And with it, he can turn any pony evil. Yes, I'm not kidding. Now, in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, he's like Grogar. He's kind of downplayed. They can't have say things like, if by midnight my chariot is old, head will roll his. But it's kind of still dark in Friendship is Magic. And I can't go without talking about him, but not talk about another couple of villains that in Friendship is Magic as well. Chrysalis is another one I really liked. She was a villain, a reoccurring villain. There was episodes Where she actually, the first episode we seen her, we didn't see her true form. She was more or less disguising herself as a princess. Then, as the series went on, we got to see the real version of her. Then there's Nightmare Moon, aka Luna. Now, I know you're going to see this. Luna and Nightmare Moon are not villains. Well, they were in the very first season of Model Point Offensive is Magic. But they kind of still were villains. And then we have one of my favorite villains, even if he was reformed, and that was Discord. Discord, I've talked about before. Discord is basically the bad guy of season 2. And for the most part, he was a villain. And he was reformed by Fluttershy. But as the series went on, he still kind of did flip-flops. Like in the season after he was reformed, he excuse me. Sorry. He went back to his old ways for a little bit when Tirek came. But then he finally realized that what he was doing was wrong. Okay, back to classic video game villains. For this one, Eggman, aka Dr. Robotnik. The villain has been the villain of Sonic the Hedgehog for the longest time. He has never changed. Never. Yes, he's been helping sometimes, but when he's not helping, just like Bowser, he's out there being a villain. And a dang good one. And I can't say that without him, talk about him without talking about the movie version of it, the cartoon and movie versions of him. So, Sonic the Hedgehog, the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, is basically, he is a funny version of him. He's more or less a big lummox with his own sidekicks. And then we got SATAM, which I've talked about in lengths. He is a ruler of a destroyed Mobius. And then, of course, the recent Sonic Boom. He's even more of a villain then. But the movies is where I really like him because Jim Carrey plays him. Now, Jim Carrey, I like him. For the most part. He's funny. I was kind of skeptical that maybe Jim Carrey won't be a very good Eggman. So, this next villain, or villains, are part of a series. Shadow Queen, Dimencio, Count Black, and finally, the Origami King, Ollie. These three villains are from the Paper Mario series. Shadow Queen is the final boss spoiler alert, of the Thousand Year Door. C is a demon that brought the original world port into ruin. It was buried underneath the new world port. Now Count Bleck Count Bleck is a villain who wants, well, I guess you could say he's kind of a villain and kind of not, because in the game, he's more of a sad villain, because he lost his true love, Tippy. Again, that's a spoiler alert for those of you who know. I told you he was spoilers, so you guys got past this part. I'm not playing Super Paper Mario. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I warned you. And then we got Dimencio, who basically takes over at the end of the game. And then we got the Origami King, Ollie. Ollie is also a sad villain. He wanted everything origamied because he got something written on the back of him. It's according to the lore, you don't do it with origami. It's disrespectful. And then I'm going to give some honorable mentions to some villains. There's one more. A couple of them. Him, Mojo Jojo, Fuzzy Lumpkins. I know, it's going to say, Fuzzy Lumpkins isn't a villain. And the delightful children from down the lane. All of these villains are from two cartoons, Powerpuff Girls and Codename Kids Next Door. Now I talked about Princess and the Amoeba Boys in the last video when I talked about my least favorite villains. But actually, I didn't talk about her. But I did say, well, I did not mention these guys. Him is basically the devil. He is always causing problems for the Powerpuff Girls. And they don't really give him a name. It's called they call the devil him. I guess it's because they can't say devil in a cartoon. Then we have Mojo Jojo, another character. Oh, and the Rowdy Rough Boys. I forgot about them. Mojo Jojo is the main antagonist of the Powerpuff Girls. And he, despite how annoying he is, I think I really do like Mojo Jojo. And no, I'm not going to put the Gangrene Gang on here. I can't and won't. I like them, but they're more of an annoyance. And no, I didn't put them on the worst villains because they're not bad. They're just more of an annoyance. And then we have Fuzzy Lumpkins. Now, to be honest, he hasn't really done anything too villainous, unless you watch the pilot episode, which premiered on Cartoon, or What a Cartoon. Meet Fuzzy Lumpkins. And he basically turns everybody into meat. But there's also the episode where he actually becomes mayor. And a fight breaks out between him and Mayor. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh, what's going on? I'm not sick. Don't worry about it. But then there is actually going to give another one, Father, as well. So the Delightful Children from Down the Lane is basically what the name is. They're basically the good kids, but the villains. And Father is basically Father from, and basically is the bad guy. So, oh, and you know what? I gotta throw some more out there. Carmen Sandiego. From where in the world is where on earth is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? And where in time is Carmen Sandiego? All three are TV shows and are really good. So it's a good series. If he's ever caught, as he is, he's away again. Then we have the Hacker from Cyber Chase. I found him annoying at first, but he's kind of funny. Anyway, if there's any other villains that you guys like, leave them in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video. We'll be talking about my favorite characters. From My Little Pony Friends, my favorite characters from My Little Pony, side characters from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and my least favorite side characters from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I'll see you guys in the next video.